UN Food Systems Summit press conference. It will not be a long one, I can assure you, because our dignitaries have to go back to the various sessions. But a warm welcome to all of you who are in this room and those that are following online. My name is Mercy Wambui, Communications Head at the Economic Commission for Africa, and I'll be your moderator. So we have a stellar lineup of principals here. We have the Ethiopian Minister of Agriculture, His Excellency Ato Girma Amente. A warm welcome to you, Your Excellency. We also have the Italian Minister, His Excellency Francesco Lollobrigida, Minister of Agriculture, Food, Sovereignty and Forestry of Italy. We also have our Deputy Secretary General, Her Excellency Madam Amina J. Mohammed, and she will take questions after statements have been made by His Excellency the Ethiopian Minister and and His Excellency Francesco Lollobrigida. So without further ado, I'm going to ask His Excellency Minister for Agriculture to please take the floor and issue a statement. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. Greetings to you all, and thanks for being here. I'm pleased to join today by Amina J. Mohammed, UN Deputy Secretary General, and His Excellency Francisco Lollobrigida, Italian Minister of Agriculture, Food Sovereignty and Forestry. It is an immense honor for Ethiopia to co-host this United Nations Summit alongside our valued partner, Italy. The presence of so many leaders, high-level delegations, and the UN Deputy Secretary General, United Nations agencies, the private sector, and yours representative is a testament to global commitment to tackling one of the most pressing challenges of our time. This summit is crucial. It comes 4 years after the 2021 UN Food Summit, which rightly put food systems at the heart of the Sustainable Development Agenda. However, in the time since, our world has faced unprecedented shocks from the climate crisis to global geopolitical conflicts and economic volatility. Those challenges have proven that our food systems are not as resilient as they need to be. This summit is vital to double down on our collective efforts. We have just concluded a successful and insightful high-level opening and plenary on the future of sustainable food systems. As we take stock of how far we have come, the past 2 days have been marked by a very renewed sense of urgency and determination. Yesterday's Action Day set a practical tone for this summit. Delegates who took part in the field trips were able to see first-hand innovations and challenges on the ground from those on the front lines of food system transformation. More than a sector, to the young innovators with a strong focus on empowering smallholder farmers, women and youths. A focus on finance. The summit highlighted the critical need to unlock and reorient financing in order to channel more public and private finance into sustainable food systems. This is not about charity, it is about smart, strategic investment in our shared future. As we look ahead to the final day of the summit tomorrow, we will dedicate our efforts to the third objective of the summit, unlocking finance and increasing investments. We will explore innovative financing mechanisms and build the partnerships required to mobilize the capital needed for food systems transformation. For Ethiopia, the summit reinforces its commitment to building a resilient and sustainable food systems. We are not winning the game yet, but we have a clear path forward. Transformation is possible. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. On that note of this is not about charity, this is about sovereignty. Let's move to the next remarks by His Excellency Francesco Lollobrigida, Minister of Agriculture, Food Sovereignty and Forestry of Italy. Over to you, Excellency.
Thank you. Un saluto e un ringraziamento ad Amina Mohamed, Vice Segretario Generale dell'ONU, e in particolare oggi a Girma Mentè, Ministro dell'Agricoltura dell'Etiopia, con il quale abbiamo condiviso momenti di confronto anche in passato, ma ancor di più la collaborazione virtuosa che l'Italia ha messo in campo insieme all'Etiopia. Questo evento lo dimostra, come l'evento che si è svolto a Roma, che garantisce tra i vertici sui sistemi alimentari una costante presenza dei nostri paesi per uno sviluppo sostenibile del pianeta e una corretta alimentazione. Permettetemi di salutare anche proprio per questo il direttore Gatti del Ministero degli Esteri e il vice ministro Cirielli, che sono qui in rappresentanza di un ministero importante e strategico con il quale costantemente collaboriamo per rafforzare il valore della nostra cultura alimentare integrata con un sistema di sviluppo mondiale. Nel 2023 abbiamo ospitato a Roma il secondo vertice sui sistemi alimentari, un grande onore per il nostro Paese e un momento importante di collaborazione internazionale proprio verso obiettivi che garantiscono un sistema alimentare resiliente ed inclusivo per ridurre la fame, garantendo non solo cibo, ma cibo di qualità alle nostre popolazioni. La decisione di ospitare il secondo vertice in Italia ha permesso di ribadire la centralità della sicurezza alimentare e della sostenibilità dei sistemi alimentari per la nostra agenda nazionale ed internazionale. E abbiamo ribadito la necessità di un dialogo che anche in queste occasioni viene in essere. Il tema della sicurezza alimentare rappresenta una priorità politica dell'Italia, politica sul piano nazionale e politica sul piano internazionale. L'Italia è forte del suo sistema agroalimentare, delle sue eccellenze, delle sue filiere agricole tra le più sostenibili del pianeta e riflette questa priorità anche nella cooperazione internazionale, agendo nella creazione di partenariati che si sviluppano anche con l'obiettivo di valorizzare quella qualità che emerge da tante nazioni. Parlavamo poc'anzi con una delle più grandi aziende italiane, con il dottor Illy, che rappresenta nell'ambito delle filiere che sviluppano una collaborazione con i paesi in via di sviluppo, una eccellenza in grado di garantire sostenibilità, difesa dell'ambiente, garanzia per le piccole comunità locali di progredire in termini economici. È quello che noi abbiamo inserito come obiettivo strategico del piano dedicato a una figura che è quella di Enrico Mattei, che fu precursore di una collaborazione con l'Africa che non fosse né predatoria, come qualcuno aveva fatto in passato, né caritatevole, ma fosse di rispetto reciproco e di collaborazione reciproca con pari dignità. È la visione italiana della sovranità alimentare alla quale dedicheremo una tavola rotonda che domani avrò l'onore di presiedere. Insieme all'Etiopia, all'Action Campaign delle Nazioni Unite, abbiamo organizzato 2 dei principali eventi dell'Action Day di ieri, voluto dalla Vice Segretaria Generale Amina Mohamed, e la ringrazio ancora una volta. Un primo evento di collaborazione fatto con giovani per i giovani. Il ricambio generazionale è uno degli obiettivi prioritari e per garantire il ricambio generazionale gli elementi di forza sono la formazione e un adeguato reddito agli imprenditori agricoli, unico modo per garantire una presenza degli agricoltori come custodi del territorio che garantiscano la tenuta dell'ambiente rispetto agli effetti del cambio climatico, al dissesto idrogeologico e una corretta presenza all'interno del territorio delle singole nazioni in ogni area senza una forte concentrazione nelle aree urbane e un abbandono sistematico delle campagne. È un messaggio che abbiamo voluto amplificare anche con la collaborazione dei nostri media nazionali. Saluto la stampa italiana, in particolare la RAI Televisione di Stato e la TV etiope. Il secondo evento si è svolto ieri al Science Museum. L'Italia insieme all'Etiopia ha voluto portare per la prima volta proprio il caffè al Food System Summit. L'evento è stato organizzato ieri con un successo non solo di partecipanti, più di 600, ma di qualità nella proposta per far crescere il reddito degli imprenditori agricoli e dell'intera filiera. La decisione di coorganizzare il vertice di oggi insieme all'Etiopia testimonia la nostra volontà di avvicinare l'agenda sulla sicurezza alimentare al continente africano, che è per l'Europa e per l'Italia in particolare un riferimento naturale. È stato un vero piacere lavorare a stretto contatto con gli amici etiopi, a testimonianza della consolidata amicizia tra i nostri paesi. Il vertice di oggi giunge in un momento in cui le crescenti diseguaglianze e le crisi minacciano la sicurezza alimentare del mondo. Il principale messaggio del vertice di cui l'Italia si fa portatrice è che il cambiamento in positivo è possibile se investiamo in maniera lungimirante nella trasformazione dei sistemi alimentari. E credo che l'incontro tra la Presidente Meloni e il Presidente Abiy abbiano confermato questo tipo di approccio in un quadro multilaterale in cui però anche i rapporti bilaterali hanno una loro rilevante importanza per essere cardine e perno di uno sviluppo integrato e sistemico.
Thank you very, very much, Your Excellency, on those very points you raised on finance, partnerships and political priorities and partnerships with the continent on enabling food security and food systems as we go forward. I'd like to request Her Excellency, the Deputy Secretary General, Madam Amina J. Mohammed, to take the floor and say a few words before we open the floor to the rest of the media for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellencies, and our members of the press, our distinguished ministers from Ethiopia and Italy, friends and colleagues. Thank you very much, Mercy, and to our hosts at the Economic Commission for Africa. It really is a pleasure to be with you here today. The Secretary General would have been here, but he's in New York today at a very important gathering which will look at the cause of peace and a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine. I'd like to congratulate and appreciate the effort by our co-hosts, Ethiopia and Italy, to help bring this summit together, New York, in Rome, and here in Addis, and in particular to our Minister for Agriculture from Italy, that commitment to really underscoring the importance of the local level investments that you make in our farmers, the family farming that we have seen come out of Italy as well, but also in the commitment to Africa and the Matteo Plan through which you do it. To Ethiopia, thank you very much for opening up and making very real the commitments that we made 4 years ago as we went into this support to the food systems, but also to our own based agencies, in showing that commitments can actually be seen on the ground. And in our action day, that's what we saw. We saw the marketplace, we saw the schools and school feeding. Many of you went out to the field to see the extraordinary work that has been done with the wheat production. The leadership and commitment that we see, this all underscores the importance of multilateralism. When we have global challenges, it is these global solutions that come forth to help us to get through the crisis that we are in often. Have we done enough? The short answer is no, not enough yet. But food systems do remain under extreme pressure. Tonight, we hope to launch the 2025 edition of the State of Food Security and Nutrition World Report. And while that will provide us with the most up-to-date and robust data, we already know that there's an urgent need for transformation. In recent years, the data has also told us that food systems are one of a few key entry points to accelerate the worldwide transition to a more sustainable trajectory. The UN Food Systems Summit was first convened, as we heard today, in 2021, sending a message that food systems transformation must be central to our efforts in achieving the SDGs by 2030. It was a pivotal moment. It engaged millions of people around the world in a dialogue on how we would do this. It talked about production, the processes, the distribution, and how we consume. In 2023, we met in Rome for the first stocktake of the summit, and today we're meeting in Addis. We heard in the open session that it is governments that are shifting how they govern and shape policy for food systems, the right to food. This aligns with the report that the Secretary General has had as we released ahead of this meeting. It reflects that different parts of government are increasingly engaged in the crafting and alignment of national policies and plans. 130 countries have national pathways for food system transformation, with 110 governments reporting on progress this year. Many are accompanying countries in this shift as they identify areas for investment and action. And I believe we heard today from the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, this is more than just assistance. This is investing in people's future in a world that is more peaceful. We welcome as businesses and civil society support the implementation, and they're also adjusting their practices and perspectives. Farmers are adopting practices that enhance productivity and profits by preserving nature and restoring land. Policy and financial innovations are unlocking capital flows. The UN system and other international institutions are steadfast partners. Guiding these actions is an emphasis on a rights-based approach to people at the center. It provides an essential foundation for food systems, ensuring that policies and the investments that we use to advance food systems provide decent work, health, and meaningful participation. And this is urgent. Food systems represent roughly a third of greenhouse gas emissions, and we know that the total climate finance for agri-foods is at least 7 times lower than the most conservative estimates needed. And so these investments must also account for other key transitions. Food cannot be done alone. It must be done with our green energy, other critical infrastructure. And without this, finance, farmers, businesses, and communities will still struggle to adapt. Change, we believe, is not only possible, it is underway, and the time is for us to amplify it. I think we heard today scaling up our investments and what we do to do it. The stocktake here, we're at the stocktake today and tomorrow to do 4 things. First, to share progress, success, and challenges, and this is at the core value of coming together over these 2 days. The second is strengthening that multi-stakeholder engagement, collaboration, and accountability. We will need to reinforce inclusive governance mechanisms and the role of non-state actors in monitoring our transitions. Third, to unlock, align, and scale investment and finance. Total flows to food systems will still remain inadequate. And we see here that there are many public debt burdens and declines in fiscal space in low-income countries, lower middle income, who are further complicated. Also investing in financing the gap for agri-food systems, given the wide variety of interventions that is needed to close it. To explore the investment and policy alignment needed, a series of investment dialogues are being convened, and we see all our multi-stakeholders taking part in that. Finally, we're here to maintain and build momentum towards 2030. We are off track, but we know that we can get back on track. We have the tools. We have seen the commitment that has been displayed this morning at the opening session by the Prime Minister of Italy, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, and many other heads of state and government. I hope that this stocktake will help to serve as a platform to identify the priorities over the next few years so that we leave this conference with much more to do than we came in as we try to achieve the ambitions that we set in 2015. I thank you and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Secretary General. On that very, very strong call for investments. We have the tools, we have the commitment, and now we need to really move forward urgently to fast track this agenda. I'd like to request that if you want to ask a question, kindly introduce yourself and the media you're from. Please raise your hand. We'll be able to accommodate as many as we can, but we do not have much time. So please make your question very brief. Ask one question and one question only so that we are able to accommodate as many as possible. I'll start with the lady to my right. Please go ahead. One question. Yes. Turn on the mic.
Hi everybody. I'm Marlène Panara. I'm a French journalist from the Radio France International, and my question is for Mrs. Mohammed. I just want to know what situation right now, or what country is worrying you the most regarding the food insecurity. Thank you.
Maybe we can have a couple more before we go on. So we have radio. Is there television? Yes. Please introduce yourself and your name. Switch on the mic.
Thank you. My name is Ermias Begashaw. I am from EBS Television. And I have two questions, one for Dr. Girma, one for Madam Amina, if I am allowed. For Madam Amina, do you think our world can achieve zero hunger in 2030? Having in mind the track the world has come. And for Dr. Girma, I will be glad if you reply in Amharic for local news consumption, if I am allowed. So I'm going to ask in Amharic. ኢትዮጵያ 22 የስርዓተ ምግብ ኢንተርቬንሽን አውትላይን አድርጋለች እና ከዚህ 22 የኢንተርቬንሽን ስራዎች የትኛውን አሳካች በአራት ዓመት ውስጥ የትኛውስ ቀረ እና ቻሌንጆቹ ምን ነበሩ? የጸጥታ ችግር የነበረበት ያለበት ሁኔታም የነበረበትም ሁኔታ አለ። የፋይናንስ እጥረትም እንዲሁ ቻሌንጂንግ ነገር ሊሆን ይችላልና ምን ነበረ ቻሌንጆቹ? የትኛው ተሳካ? የትኛውስ ቀረ? አመሰግናለሁ። Thank you.
I think we can start with those 2 or 3 questions. Requesting Madam Amina to take on the which country worries you most, gives you sleepless nights?
Well, there are many, many countries that worry me most, but there are different contexts in which we are dealing with this. And if I'm to say which one worries me most, I believe that the context we have in trying to reach the 2030 agenda today, we're seeing that many countries are attempting to do that and doing well, and I'll answer the second question on that. But when it applies to the context of conflict, for me, the country that worries me most in terms of food security and access to food is Palestine. There's absolutely no reason today why we should be seeing children and people starving in what is quite clearly a man-made event. In many of the other situations, I can see a pathway. Today we continue to ask for that pathway. So if you ask me where I'm not sleeping because of Gaza. Do you want to go to the second question?
I think that the second question was for Dr. Girma.
Okay.
On 2030. No, so there was a question to you on that, Madam Secretary, Deputy Secretary General, on 2030, whether we are really on track. Okay.
I think the question was whether we would get to zero hunger by then, by 2030. I think if you look at all the statistics today, if we on the current trend, no, we will not. But this meeting and this stocktake is about how we get back on track to do that. And I think that what we have seen demonstrated by Ethiopia in such a short time to become food self-sufficient on wheat alone, Italy, and the Minister of Agriculture who has talked about the important elements to that, I think we can do that. You would have seen at the last G20 that Brazil also brought an alliance together to tackle zero hunger by 2030. So I'm hopeful, but there's a lot of work to do, and it's a big lift, and it requires everyone to come to the table.
Thank you. And the one for Dr. Girma, by Amarinya.
Okay, because the question is in Amharic, let me respond also to it in Amharic. የኢትዮጵያ የስርዓተ ምግብና ኒውትሪሽን ሽግግር ፍኖተ ካርታ ወደ 7 ፒላሮችና 24 ውጤት ቀያሪ መፍትሄዎችን ይዞ ነው ወደ ስራ የገባ ነው። ይሄንን ከጀመርን በኋላ ኢትዮጵያ እየሰራች ያለችው ኢኒሼቲቮችና ፕሮግራሞች በእኛ መደበኛ ስራም ሆነ በልማት አጋሮች እንዴት ይጣጣማሉ የሚለውን ዲያግኖስቲክስ ስንሰራ ወደ 80% የኛ ስራዎች አላይን ያደርጋሉ ከዚህ ሮድማፕ ጋር ዘን ከዛ በኋላ ያየነው የት ጋር ደና ሄደናል የት ጋር ደግሞ ተጨማሪ ስራዎች ይጠይቃሉ የሚለውን አይተን ነበር። ለምሳሌ ክላስተር 1 ምርትና ምርታማነትን ከመጨመር አንፃር የሚሰሩ ስራዎች ናቸው። ኢትዮጵያ ብዙ ስራ ሰርታለች። እዚህ አካባቢ በስንዴ ላይ ሰራ ነው፣ በአረንጓዴ አሻራ የሰራ ነው፣ በልማት ትሩፋት የሰራ ነው፣ ምርትና ምርታማነትን ከማሳደግ አንጻር ፒላር 1 ላይ ያሉ ናቸው። ሁለተኛው ከስርዓተ ምግብ ከኒውትሪሽን እና የተመጣጠነ ምግብን ከማቅረብ አንጻር እዚህ አካባቢም ለሰቆጣ ዲክላሬሽን ስኩል ፊዲንግ ያሉት ፕሮግራሞቻችን እዚህ አካባቢ የተሰለፉ ናቸው። ተጨማሪ ስራ ይጠይቀናል ብለን የወሰድነው በተለይ በቴክኖሎጂና ኢንፍራስትራክቸር በተለይም ደግሞ ኮልድ ስቶሬጅ ሎጂስቲክስ ጋር ተያይዞ የምግብን ብክለትና ብክነት ከመቀነስ አንጻር የሚሰሩ ስራዎች የሩራል ኤሌክትሪፊኬሽን ስራዎች ቀጣይ ስራ የሚጠይቁ መሆናቸውን አይተናል። ስለዚህ የተሻለ የሰራንባቸውን ስራዎች አጠናክረን እንቀጥላለን። ቀጣይ ኢንቨስትመንትና መሰረተ ልማት የሚጠይቁ ስራዎችን ደግሞ ወደፊት ከልማት አጋሮቻችን ጋር ሆነን አጠናክረን የምንቀጥልበት ይሆናል። ግን ኢትዮጵያ የትጋደና እየሰራች እንዳለች የትጋ ክፍተቶች እንዳሉን ለይተን ከዛ ጋራ በተጣጣመ መልኩ ወደፊት ለመሄድ ይዘናል ማለት ነው። አመሰግናለሁ።
Thank you very much, Dr. Girma. There's a question to the Italian minister, Minister Lollobrigida, on zero hunger.
There is not, it wasn't just a declaration. There are not
Okay.
possibility to question.
I think you have, there's a hand over there. Let's start with the
Okay,
gentleman.
thank you.
Yes.
My name is Haytham from Al Jazeera. My question, in light of this summit focus on the impact of conflict and food security, my question for Madam Amina, how does the United Nations assess the current situation in Gaza and Sudan, where the starvation is being reportedly used as weapons against civilians? And what the urgent steps that UN taking now to ensure that food and humanitarian aid reach those most people in need?
Well, this is, of course, you know that the UN has pronounced itself a number of times on access to life-saving food and other things. For Gaza and for Sudan, this, for us, international humanitarian law is the basis of that. In Gaza, it is we need the return of the hostages. We also need a ceasefire. But more importantly, access for people to have a basic right to food, and that's not happening. And what are we doing? Continuously, we will continue to engage with the government of Israel, we'll continue to engage with all the partners that are involved to try to make that happen. Now, we know that it was a humanitarian pause and some trucks were allowed in, not enough. Not enough such that it causes the dilemma where people are getting shot at and killed in order to try to get food. And I think the only thing we can do is to continue to raise our voices, to continue to raise the importance of international humanitarian law. And in the case of Sudan, to also talk to the leaders, to engage with the leaders, with the African Union, that, you know, it is not people that should be at the end of this, particularly when it comes to food and access to it. We should not be having starvation in order to find a pathway to peace. This is unacceptable, and we continue to raise our voices for that. We hope that this will be heard in the discussions that will be had in New York today.
Thank you very much. We are actually really coming to the end of this press conference because of time. The program is a little bit behind, and our dignitaries need to go back to the sessions so that they can continue the engagement. I want to really thank you for your time and for your patience and for coming and for asking questions. Please continue engaging with us. We will be available for any questions, any additional questions, and any additional follow-up questions that may be needed. Thank you very much, and it's a wrap.